I want to start out by clarifying something that I think I should have explained a little bit better in class, and those are ors and ands. With an and, the number line looks like this top one here, and with an or, the number line looks like this bottom one here. It's either less than -5 or it's greater than 5 in this instance for the or. This one, it includes -5 and 5 and every integer in between. So I wanted to clarify that before I proceed. And looking over here, before I move to the next slide, x is greater than and equal to -5, as you can see. X is less than and equal to 5, as you can see. So you connect the dots. This here, the dots aren't going to touch. X is less than and equal to -5, so it's going to go in that direction. X is greater than or equal to +5, so it's going to go in this direction. So this is an or, this is an and. And just to remind you how absolute values operate, it's just a function where every time you take something out of the absolute value sign, it's always going to be positive. So if you're, let's say you're in a cold country and you say, what was the temperature increase or what was the temperature decrease today? And you could say 5. The temperature decrease is 5. Or you could say the temperature increase is 5, for instance. So it's how far it is away from 0 is what an absolute value is, your distance away from 0. An absolute value inequality, which I know sounds very intimidating, there's a trick to solving it. And once you learn the process, then and you use the trick, then they're not that difficult to do. So looking at this one, x, the absolute value of x is less than and equal to 5. First of all, this is going to be an and let me back up. So it's going to be one of these. It's going to be an and. So let's go back here. Now let's think about what can be in the absolute value. Well, either 5 or -5. So, but what this means is it's all the numbers in between -5 and 5. And because it's less than and equals to, or equals to, rather, I should say, you're going to use a closed dot. And the trick to solving these is as follows. So remember before when we were just learning about absolute value equations, you set it up with one positive as a solution, you set it up with one negative as a solution, and that's it. And I'll show you with a one-step equation in a second. Well, the trick with number lines with absolute value inequalities is you want to put the negative on the other side with the expression, or in this case, there's just a variable over there. And these are parentheses. I'm just showing you how to solve this equation. The equation's over here, and now we're solving it. So now we know we already know that x is less than and equal to 5. And now we're going to divide both sides by -1 or multiply both sides by -1. And what happens when you do that? What happens when you do that is your inequality sign flips upside down. -5. And now we have our solution. X is less than or equal to -5. X is less than and equal to 5. And let's come back and look. It's made a mistake here, but I corrected it in red. So x is less than and equal to 5, less than and equal to 5. And it's greater than and equal to, which I corrected down here, -5. Greater than and equal to -5. So there it is. And this is an and, because a couple of more complicated problems. This is an or situation. Spoiler alert, if you have a greater than or greater than and equal to, then it's going to be an or. Okay? Facing the variable, I mean. So, in order to solve this, set up your two equations. On this equation, I'm going to divide both sides by 2. It's a positive. It's not going to affect the inequality sign. So it's going to be y is greater than and equal to 9. Over here, I'm going to divide both sides by -1, or multiply both sides by -1. Either way, that gets rid of the negative, which we're trying to do, because we're trying to find out what y is. So now we have 2y. The inequality sign flips over, and we have a -9 over here. Sorry. We have a -18 over here, I should say. And now we divide 2 on both sides, and we have y is less than and equal to -9. The way you'll be writing the answer is like this, with an or to show that these aren't connected on the number line. So y is less than or equal to -9 is right here. I wrote it right here. And y is greater than and equal to 9, which I showed right here. This one looks intimidating, but we're just applying the algebra that we already know, and we're only using the two tricks that I already taught you previously in this video. Set up the equation twice. I set it up with one positive, and I set it up with a -1, with this invisible one here. right outside the absolute value, and I went ahead and put parentheses around it since we're dealing with an expression. Just as if there were an equal sign here, we're going to cross multiply and solve. So we wind up with 2p minus 8 greater than and equal to, remember I'm cross multiplying, so we've got 36, and now we just solve from there. And after we did the algebra, we find out that p is greater than and equal to 22. On the second one, we're going to multiply both sides by -1, but that is going to flip our sign because every time you multiply and divide a negative across an inequality, the sign always flips. And now the parentheses are gone, so I'm just going to solve it from there. And I'm going to do this step by step since I kind of skipped a couple steps in the last one. So we've got 2p minus 8 is less than and equal to -36. I'm going to add 8 to both sides, and I wind up with 2p is less than and equal to -28. Yeah, -28, because you add 8 to both sides. Divide 2. We find out that p is also less than and equal to -14. Now we have to determine whether it's an or an and. I'm going to draw the number line, and it turns out that it's an or because it's greater than and equal to 22, and it is, I'm going to try to shade this in here, and it is less than and equal to, so close circle, -14. And there's a solution to that problem.